Welcome to West Texas RX. Today we're doing our famous pizza crust recipe, and then we'll go ahead and make a pizza and show you after. Alright, we're beginning by adding the spelt flour and quinoa flour. 1.5 cups of quinoa flour, 2 cups of spelt flour, and a teaspoon of salt of the good Selena Naturally fine ground sea salt, and 1 teaspoon of Bob's Red Mill baking powder. We just mix that, and then we add 1.5 cups of water and half of a cup of the good Biryani's raw olive oil. You just stir it up. Okay, now then we have our batter that's mixed up. That's a heavy batter, and we're just going to pour it out onto a baking sheet. We use this, I think they call these a jelly roll pan. It has about 1 inch on the side, and but you can use a regular pizza crust, or you can put it in a pie pan also. I think Pam just puts a little oil on her hands to keep it from sticking to her hands so much. And you just press it out. Lightly press it out so you don't press out all the air. We do not oil the pan before. If you do, it will come away from the edges and then burn around the edges. But this ought to come up pretty good when you go to serve it. So we just press it to the edges, and then it'll stick there. Try to get it as even as possible so that it'll bake evenly. Alright, so now we're going to pop it in the oven. Alright, now we're going to roughly chop spinach, and then we put it in a skillet with a lid to lightly cook it. And now we're adding the last of our roughly chopped spinach. And then we just smooth it and drizzle just a little water. That's probably plenty. All you need is to get it started. And we're going to cook it on high for about 5 minutes with a lid. Alright, now we've heated the spinach, steamed it. And then we just stir it, and we can turn off the heat now because it's pretty much done. And one thing, did we salt it? It needs a little salt. Actually, we're going to just do a little sprinkle of salt on it. And this is the good Selena Naturally fine ground. That's good. All right. Then you just stick the lid on and take it off of the heat. Alright, now we have our partially cooked crust. We cooked it about 15 minutes at 350, depending on your oven. You don't want to brown it too much because it's still going to cook a little bit more. So what she's spreading on is basil, liquefied in a Vitamixer with olive oil. And you can do this with other herbs also. And we do this with our salad dressing that we make. And we do, and you can see the process on my video about the salad dressing, the herb salad dressing. So right now she's putting on basil that's been liquefied in a Vitamixer. And then we store it. You can freeze it. You can put it in freezer bags. And freeze it, just mark the date and use the The first ones you put in, use them first when you start to do. And as long as it's covered with olive oil, it'll even keep a good green color. That looks so yummy. We're pretty liberal with it. We kind of like heavy basil. You can lay plain basil on there, or fresh basil, in other words, not liquefied. It just it's easier to chew like this. Yeah, that looks great. Then we're going to add our spinach, and you can either do that. You can try it with tongs, and so this reason we didn't add much water is then it makes it watery-ish. So we're going to just spread that out across the basil, and we already salted it in the pan, so we're good there. And we'll add our cheese and red and green bell peppers that we have diced up over here, and then bake it one more time. The fork does good to separate it. Tongs do good to kind of squeeze out if there's any water.
Okay.
All right, and we're going to do a third of the pan in goat cheese. We have some that like goat cheese, and then 2/3 of the pan in regular cow's milk. They're sticking over the edge. It's okay. And we've sliced this. You can either grate it or slice it, whatever works good for you.
Charlie, do you remember your blood type? What is it?
And she's putting it on all level, but you don't have to. I think the main reason she's doing that is because she's trying to do a third of the pizza in goat cheese.
This lady's going to offer up about 4 drops of blood.
So I think she's going to do 2 rows.
Yeah.
Good plan.
Life is in the blood. The power of the blood. All right, ready? Okay, on the count of 1, 2, and 3. Right there it is.
That'll make it easy to cut it.
Oh yeah, she's a good leader, Charlie.
We don't have anybody that has a particular sensitivity, so it doesn't matter very much if it overlaps on the cheeses.
Body, the brain. I don't know, but I think we'll have to lose a little blood. That's all right. I know you're cool. You got it good right there. Well, in order to get take aspirin, which means that it's sticking together and flowing really nice. All right. Good. Yeah. All right. Blood. So she's a positive something.
Charles is up in the front blood typing somebody. You want to kind of pull them away from the edges in that one. I don't have clean hand. That's good. Because it'll kind of, there you go. All right. Beautiful. Now then we put our red and green bell pepper that we have diced all on the top. kind of get it. She's holding her hand there to kind of guide it to go around the edges.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. It's okay. I mean, it's just, look, life is a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. Alright, so what we're looking at here, okay. You see in this circle here, see the speckled thing right there? That circle tells me that you're a positive. This circle here would tell me if there were speckled and if you had the B type in line, which doesn't. This circle over here would tell me where you had
We're gonna use them all or not?
and it's not speckled.
Just get a little more through here, I think, is a little light. And then we put it in the oven, and or do you want to sprinkle a little bit of salt on the top of the peppers? Tastes better with a little bit of salt on them. And they'll kind of brown up a little bit better too. But just kind of like, I think they're going to grind it. The fresh ground does taste better. You actually get a few more minerals when you grind it yourself. Alright, we're going to pop it in the oven and set the timer for about 15 minutes. Alright, we've had this cooking for about 25 or 30 minutes. Now the goat cheese hasn't browned up quite as much as the mozzarella, but that's just perfect. And we'll wait and let that set for about 5 minutes, and then we'll cut it. Alright, so now we're going to cut, and I'm going to try to cut it where that goat cheese was. So we'll have to talk to people, see how they like goat cheese. I usually kind of cut it evenly first. Whoops. The goat cheese doesn't brown as well. And I'm going to cut it straight down the middle, and then straight down the sides. And I guess I've got one more cut to do, might as well. Thanks. So, depending at which one you want, we're going to go for the mozzarella cheese first. Get your spatula to go under there. And there we've got it. West Texas RX Pizza. Thank you.